In the shadows of Baghdad, a young man from a village would rise to become one of the most powerful and feared leaders of the 20th century. This is not just the story of a man, but the story of how power is forged in the fires of chaos, betrayal, and absolute control. This is the story of Saddam Hussein's ascent. To understand Saddam, you have to understand the world that made him. The Iraq of the 1960s was a whirlwind of instability. Governments rose and fell overnight, not through elections, but through bloody coups and backroom assassinations. It was a place where strength was the only currency that mattered. Into this chaos stepped the Baath Party, a political movement with a powerful vision, a unified Arab nation built on socialist principles, and guided by a strong, unwavering hand. For a young, ambitious man like Saddam, the Baath Party's ideology was intoxicating. It wasn't just the promise of Arab unity that drew him in. It was the party's strict discipline, its revolutionary fervor, and its belief that power was the ultimate tool for change. He saw in the party a path out of obscurity, a way to impose order on a world that seemed to have none. He was not just joining a political party. He was joining a brotherhood bound by a shared dream and a willingness to do whatever it took to achieve it. This was the crucible where Saddam's political journey began. Saddam's entry into the Baath Party's inner circles was unturned through eloquent speeches or brilliant political theories. He wasn't a scholar, he was a doer, an enforcer. In the early days, his role was simple but crucial: to be the muscle, the man who ensured the party's will was carried out, often through intimidation and force. He was the one you called when a rival needed to be reminded of their place. This street-level experience taught him a vital lesson. Power didn't just come from ideas. It came from the loyalty of men with guns and the fear of those who might oppose you. He was a master networker, but not in the way we think of today. He didn't just shake hands, he forged deep, personal bonds. He spent time with powerful tribal leaders, understanding their ancient codes of honor and loyalty. He built bridges with ambitious military officers, promising them a future of glory and influence. He learned to play a double game, offering loyalty to one person while stoking the fears of another. He was building a web of influence, with himself at the center, connecting the party's ideology to the raw power of Iraq's tribes and military. It was a delicate, dangerous dance. But Saddam was a natural. Saddam's philosophy of power was brutally simple and shaped by the violent world he navigated. He lived by a core belief: power isn't given, it's taken. And it belongs to the one who is willing to act first, to strike before being struck. He saw hesitation as weakness and trust as a liability. In his mind, anyone could be a potential rival, a future threat. This constant suspicion wasn't just paranoia, it was a survival strategy. He once said that if he trusted someone completely, he would feel as if he had given them a part of himself, a part they could one day use against him. This deep-seated mistrust led him to create a system within a system. While the Baath Party had its official structure, Saddam built his own secret networks. Small cells of loyalists whose only job was to gather information. They were his eyes and ears, reporting on everyone, including other high-ranking party members. He collected secrets like a currency, understanding that knowing someone's weakness, their debts, or their hidden ambitions gave him absolute leverage. He wasn't just playing politics, he was playing chess, and he was always thinking 10 moves ahead, ensuring no one could ever make a move against him without him knowing about it first. The year 1968 was the turning point, the moment when all of Saddam's planning and networking came to a head. The Baath Party had been out of power, biding its time in the shadows. Now, the moment was right to strike. Saddam wasn't the public face of the revolution, but he was one of its key architects. Working behind the scenes, he helped plan the intricate details of the bloodless coup that would seize control of Baghdad and put the Baath Party back in the presidential palace. His role was critical, coordinating the military units and security cells that he had spent years cultivating. When the dust settled, the Baath Party was back in control, and Saddam was ready to claim his reward. He wasn't given a fancy title or a public role at first. His reward was something far more valuable: influence. The new president, his own relative Ahmed Hassan al-Bakr, recognized Saddam's ruthless efficiency and gave him a critical task: to reorganize Iraq's intelligence and security forces. It was the perfect job for him. He was being handed the keys to the kingdom's darkest rooms, the very tools of control he had always craved. This wasn't just a promotion. It was the beginning of his transformation from a party enforcer into the master of Iraq's security state. With control over the nation's security apparatus, Saddam began to construct his masterpiece, a state built on surveillance. He turned Iraq into a place where walls had ears, phones were tapped, mail was opened, and neighbors were encouraged to spy on neighbors. He created a pervasive atmosphere of fear, where a single disloyal word could lead to a visit in the middle of the night. Fear became his most effective tool of governance. It ensured obedience far more effectively than loyalty ever could. While building his surveillance state, he was also methodically clearing the path to ultimate power. Anyone in the Baath Party or the military who showed even a hint of ambition or dissent was a target. But Saddam's methods were often subtle. Rivals weren't always publicly purged. Sometimes they would simply retire, or be reassigned to a forgotten post abroad, or meet with a sudden, tragic accident. He was a ghost, removing pieces from the board so silently that by the time people noticed they were gone, it was already too late. Finally, he took the title of vice president. On paper, he was second in command to President al-Baath, but in reality, everyone in Iraq knew who held the true power. The president was an aging figurehead, while Saddam controlled the military, the intelligence services, the party, and the economy. He was the shadow ruler, the puppeteer pulling every string from behind the curtain. He had successfully transformed himself from a young revolutionary into the most powerful man in the country, without ever having to fire the first shot of his own coup. Saddam's rise is a masterclass in the mechanics of authoritarian power. It shows how a single-minded individual, driven by ambition and a deep-seated paranoia, can exploit a nation's chaos to build a system of total control. He didn't just seize power, he engineered it, piece by piece, until the entire state was an extension of his own will. His story serves as a chilling reminder that the path to tyranny is often paved, not with grand battles, but with quiet whispers in dark rooms, and the slow, methodical erosion of trust. Thank you for watching. If you found this journey into the corridors of power fascinating, be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into history's most compelling figures.